Hi, in this lesson we're going to show you how to create your own OpenCart categories for your products. Assume that you already know that what a category is and that a category is a way of grouping products in an online store. You can see here that if we click on the category of this OpenCart store, it has a number of products grouped underneath it. So let's get started. You need to log into your OpenCart administration panel, move to Catalog, Categories. On the right hand side there's an insert button. We need to do that, and we can see we come to the category creation page. When you're looking at any of the fields on this page or any other page within an OpenCart store and you see this little red asterisk here, that means that this is a required field, and if we try to click save without having these fields completed and filled in, we'll get a warning message and it won't let us actually go ahead. So let's go through to the first field. The first field is the category name. This is what your users will see when they visit your site. This is the name of your category. So we're just going to call this, for testing purposes today, my category. Move down to the next field. This is the meta tag description. This is actually, these two fields are coupled. Meta tag description and meta tag keywords are actually complementary fields here, and they are not actually visible to your users when they come to your OpenCart store. These are used by search engines, specifically search engines like Google will look at these fields on your HTML page, which are not visible to the visitors of your store, but they will look at these fields and make either use some of the information out of them or not, and use that when they're displaying information on search results pages and their search algorithm. So it's very important that we complete these regardless of whether they get used by Google or not. It's always good to have them completed. The first one, the meta tag description. This should be a brief description, maybe a sentence or two about your category. So we say, let's complete this. This category is a test category for our OpenCart online store. Obviously, if you were selling desktop PCs, you might say the number one PCs in the market, come and buy them from us, blah blah blah, for a paragraph possibly. Now we move down to the meta tag keywords. Slightly different, but once again it's just a comma separated list of applicable words that you would use to describe this category. So we might go if we were selling desktop PCs, we might put something like desktop PCs, comma, PCs, best value, etc., etc., on and on, with just maybe 20-25 words, comma separated, of what we want. I can't stress enough how important that is. Google may or may not use that information, but it is very important, and it can affect your search engine ranking whether or not you have that information completed, especially the description, the meta tag description. That may actually end up being what people see when they get the search results. So it's very important that you both complete it and you take some consideration in how you complete it, in case it's displayed in the search engine results. The next description down here is actually what people will see when they come to our online store. At the top of each category you have a chance to put in some text and an image. We'll get through to the image in a second, but you have a chance to write a paragraph or two of some text, help people understand what's in that category, and possibly maybe help sell some of the products in that category. So we're just going to put in some dummy text. This is our first OpenCart category. You have no limit on the text here, but I think it's best that you keep it to a paragraph or maybe 2 paragraphs, but whatever you should do, it should be a call to action. It should help sell the products in that category. If we move over to the next tab here, we've got the data tab. Now we're going to skip this field for a second here, It's the parent field. We're going to come back to it in a moment. The filters field is also something that we're going to skip. We're going to teach filters in a more advanced lesson. It's not an easy subject for a beginner to OpenCart to get their head around and understand, but we are going to cover that in a more advanced lesson. Stores. You should know that OpenCart is capable of running many different instances, or let's say versions of itself at the front end. You could have a number of stores. You could have like a desktop PC store, you could have a laptop store, all running off the one back end. By default, that isn't set up. We're going to cover that in a more advanced lesson, so you don't need to actually touch anything or do anything here. We just leave it as the default. SEO keyword. This is one of the most important, along with the meta tag description and meta tag keyword fields. This is if you're using SEO friendly URLs, which you should know about and understand. This is what will be displayed after your domain name at the top. So if we edit my category, that's what the user would see when they come to our OpenCart store. And that's what we put in here. So if we put in this, my category, that's what a user would see when they come to that category on our OpenCart store. It allows for users to navigate. If they want to type in the full URL to your store and your category, they can go to it very quickly. But it's also very important because Google looks at this, and it's how they display search results, and Google does place an emphasis on SEO. So it's important that you complete that and that you use SEO URLs, and you provide each category that you create with a unique identifier, a unique SEO keyword. You can see here that my category is 2 words, but we've separated it with a hyphen. You cannot have spaces in this field, SEO keywords. You cannot have spaces in your URLs. So the best way to do it is with a hyphen. You might think, well, why don't I just do it like that? It's our understanding that Google actually places more importance on hyphenated words as being able to detect that they're actually 2 words. If you put it like that, Google might try to actually look at that and go, is that 1 word, and have to do some calculations itself. If you do it like that, Google knows that that is actually 2 words. Now, next thing we have here is the image field. If we click on the browse here, we can just go through to some of the demo data in our OpenCart store, and let's just say we want this Apple PC here to display at the top of our category. We select that, and now when a user goes to our category, they'll see our description text that we put on the last page, and they'll see this image. Next field we have here is, do we want this category to be displayed at the top bar of our OpenCart store? This is the top menu bar here, and we can put any category we want up here. Categories will always display in the category sidebar module, but they won't always be displayed at the top. So this allows us to place it at the top of our OpenCart store. The next field here is the columns. If we go back to our OpenCart store and we just go to one of these top level categories that has some subcategories underneath it, this basically, if we're putting something on the top bar, tells us how many subcategories can we have underneath it. Now in reality there may be a number of subcategories more than we set here, but this allows us to just refine it and say when a user goes to our top bar, just show them 1 subcategory. Don't go 2 levels deep or 3 levels deep. So we're just going to leave that at 1. It's a common sense setting. The sort order, this is the placement of our category on the top level bar or on the left hand side. So again, this is important. We're going to leave this at well, let's set it at 2. Status, this is another important field. Rather than creating and deleting categories, if we want to make modifications or other things, we can just disable categories. So if we say that, well, let's just pull that category for for a while we work on it, or we need to make some changes. Rather than delete it and then go through the process of having to recreate it, we can just choose to disable it for a little while. We go to the next tab, the Design tab. We're going to cover designs, layouts, layout overrides in a more advanced lesson. So for the time being, we can just not touch that and leave it as it is. By default, nothing is selected, so we'll just leave that. Now we're ready, we've completed all our required fields. We can click on Save. And we have this little message up here that says, success, you have modified categories, which means we've saved our category and it's being created. If we go to our online store, we can now see our category. It's popped up. Here it is, my category. It's on the top level bar. So we're going to click it. We can see that there's the image that we wanted associated with it, and here's that little description text that we wrote, and we can also see that our category is now also showing in the category sidebar module. So there we are, we've put it on the top bar, we've put it on the sidebar. But let's make one last little change here. Let's go back to the category we just created. Here it is here, my category. We're going to change one little setting just to show us something. We're going to go back into the Data tab, and we're going to go back to that parent setting that we talked about. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our category here and we're going to put it underneath and make it a subcategory of the desktops category. And the way we do that is we start just typing in here desktop, and it does some work and pops up, and here we go. We can choose the parent category that we want this one to be displayed under. So there we go, we're going to click desktops. Now let's save that again, and if we refresh our page, we can see that under the desktops menu we now have our category. There it is. My category is now a subcategory of desktops, and we can see on the sidebar category module that it's also now a subcategory of desktops. So that's how we create a category in OpenCart. It's one of the fundamental things we need to do first before we start adding products, and we'll cover adding products and adding them to our categories in the next lesson.